Hey, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another video. Now today is another episode of Auction Car Hunting, the video series where I go out to the auction yard and see what kind of interesting, weird, or unique cars that I'll find out here today. So I'm actually here at the Portland Copart. So if you guys are enjoying the long form videos, make sure to let me know down in the comments, or if you guys prefer the short form, do you like the engine building stuff, do you like the auction stuff? Let me know. Say a huge thank you to everybody that has been tuning in so far. I do really appreciate it. Wow, look at this gem. Honda Accord CB7. For the Honda folks out there, you know what I'm talking about. This is a very special find. They did not make a lot of coupes, man. Hard to find these. And for whatever reason, the window's missing on this one. I'm gonna guess it's a theft recovery. I haven't even looked inside. We'll figure it out. It even has the factory spoiler, man. This is a nice one. Usually you see these now with 5 gazillion miles on it. This one is so untouched and so original that I'm really impressed. It has the original factory exhaust tips. The reason I know that is because I used to have one of these a long time ago. And even the Honda original mud flaps. Good luck finding those. I mean, it's practically impossible at this point. Rust bubbling through, to be expected. Tow hitch on an Accord? No idea why. And now as we go to this side, it looks pretty good too. And a lot of things that you see very common with these, like the speakers, these are made of this terrible quality fabric. You usually see them all torn up, or this is all faded, but it actually doesn't look half bad. The only thing though is that rust bubbling through on this side too. When it goes past the paint, not always the best sign, but let's take a look on the inside now. Wow, look at this. Look at how well kept. This must have been stolen. I can see through the ignition itself, like somebody punched a flathead screwdriver through it. You see that? I think this is stolen for sure. 242,000 miles on the clock. My God, this thing is literally driven to the moon. Man, there's just something about these interiors on these old CB7s that just hits. There's something about that little clock, the little green clock when you're driving at night. I think it's the nostalgia to me a little bit here, but these are fantastic cars in my opinion. You keep up with the maintenance and they will literally go until the wheels fall off. I think there's one that's famous of this generation that went over 1 million miles. Original engine and transmission. This Honda for you, man. And it's also a good thing I see this here too, because I think this is parking tickets. You know, maybe this was just recovered from a lot, got abandoned after getting stolen. Somebody had their fun with it, and now it's sitting here. It's just begging for a H series or a K series swap, isn't it? I'm sure somebody's gonna buy this one. I mean, I'm honestly considering it myself. This is just fabulous. Look at this, look at the driver's seat. I mean, this is crazy. Let's pop open the hood on this bad boy. Let's check it out. Just like I remember, the F-Series single overhead cam, 2.2 liter, non-VTEC, fuel injected. For the time, this was the one you wanted. I mean, like the 86, like I had an 86 Honda CRX SI, which had like the fuel injection back in the day. That was like, holy cow, this is space age stuff. All here, no goofy modifications. It looks like they maybe replaced the alternator. Very common distributor needs to be replaced. It looks like they also replaced the spark plug wires. Very, very common thing on these that goes bad. They just get worn out. But I mean, besides that, this will go. I don't even need to start it. I know this car runs. Nice, very nice one. I like this one a lot. God, I'm such a sucker for an old Honda. Anyways, this one, ooh, this might be cooked. I think you have to remember this is a very lightweight, small car. When they get in accidents, most of the time you really can't repair this, but it's a nice color and it's very hard to find these now. Very hard to find these in half decent shape. The interior looks okay, airbag deployed, automatic, so it's not desirable by any means, but there are some good bones to pick here. I think this is gonna be a good junkyard vehicle, somebody that needs parts. I mean, the hatch and the tailgate itself are in excellent condition. And I'm sure somebody out there is foaming at the mouth looking at this thing because of the panels, all the little suspension bits and all that sort. So you have to look at it from this standpoint for somebody to take this on and, you know, just pick all the little pieces out of it as you want. So residually, I don't think there's much to be said here, but I just got excited because I saw a little Civic. Maybe, you know, somebody could piece this one together. I don't think this one is necessarily worth saving because you could probably find one for a couple grand more that's gonna be better and less of a headache. This is for somebody that's a hardcore, like wants to pull it apart or take it to the junkyard type deal. You know, not too bad. But this is something I can get behind. I believe this is a Chevy C10 pickup truck. Fabulous color. These look like they're from the 60s or 70s. Again, you guys will have to correct me. I'm sure that there's some fanatic out there that's gonna be screaming, no, no, it's a 62, or no, it's a 67. And there's a huge cult-like following for these things to keep them alive. This is not the cleanest one in the world. Again, with such an old truck, rust is gonna be the biggest enemy. Lots of moisture out here. And you know, it's not chewed up like an East Coast car, but you still can see that it's starting to slowly happen here. So it's eroding away a little bit, but honestly, it looks a lot better than some of these that I've seen before. These tires are horrendous. Look at how bad these tires are. This is something you do just when you want to dump a vehicle off. Maybe it had some nice rubber. They swapped them out before taking it to the auction. Nice toolbox in the back with the key. That's always a plus too, because you know, people love to steal stuff. You put them in the bed and you have to worry about it all the time. But in this case, it actually looks pretty good. So I do see, again, vegetation, cobwebs, and I'm sure it's gonna be the same story on the inside, missing door card, which is sad. But again, for a fanatic, for a classic car restoration guru, this might actually not be too bad. It's got the old school bench seats, which I really wish they kept those, but isn't this like an aftermarket shifter of some sort that's going on back here? I don't know, maybe you guys let me know, but that doesn't look factory to me. This really skinny steering wheel, I mean, man, this is before airbags or anything. It's just, again, incredibly simple in here. Even the paint on the roof is in really good shape. Cool, very cool truck. Even though the door doesn't like to, there we go. When we go to the back, it looks like it has gone through some sort of iteration. It looks like somebody primered this a long time ago, but they didn't do the best job. I see it chipping away, rust is happening. But when you look at how straight it is, I mean, granted, when we look at this from side to side, it actually looks really good. I don't see major dents or anything like that. So it has a lot of potential. Again, these tires are just awful. I mean, I'm not surprised that this one popped, because they're all ready to pop, really. It's a roller. So I think for somebody that wants to take on a project, hey, here you go. Not too shabby. Again, for people looking for these, you're wanting to just find something that's straight that you can really sink your teeth into. And this one, I would say, is a pretty good buy if you were to get it for the right price. So it'd be cool to see this one in a future build. I'm looking at a monstrosity right now that I think you guys are really gonna enjoy. So let's take a look. Now here is the monstrosity in question, this old Range Rover. It's got quite a bit of patina to it, but before we get into that, I actually have some fond memories behind the wheel of one of these things because my dad actually had one of these way back in the day. And I think one of the most notorious things with these, I believe the Discoveries or the Discos as well, is that they all had head gasket issues. And the number one thing that my dad hated about these was the fact that they eat gas like sin. And two, when you sell it, everybody assumes that you haven't done the head gasket. Even if you've done it, it's the number one question everybody's gonna ask you about. And even if you get asked about it a million times, it could drive you mad. But, you know, it has its charm. I mean, these things, you can see these go out in the Sahara Desert and survive, you know? One of the most capable off-road vehicles of the time. As you've seen with time has gone on, these modern Range Rovers are so deliberately complicated, you have to be a NASA scientist to understand how the underpinnings of it work. But in this case, this was a simpler time for sure for Land Rover or Range Rover, whatever you want to call it. I'm not saying that this is a perfect car. I just found it really fascinating with all this vegetation that's growing all over it. So you can call this patina, you can call it whatever you'd like. It almost is kind of giving me rat rod vibes. Like if you just kept all of this and you made it mechanically sound, it would actually be pretty cool. Which is very unfortunate. Somebody took the wiper blades for whatever reason and they've been scratching up against the windshield, which is probably like nails on a chalkboard. And then there's some more pleasant vegetation growing up top on the roof rack. This almost looks like something out of a horror movie, this basket. This is somebody sitting in their backyard. They got sick of it, so they brought it here to the auctions. Nice color. Looks like they painted the wheels to match. They did the DIY white lettering on the tires. They didn't do a very good job of it, but you know, it's an acquired taste, I guess. I don't see that much rust underneath, which is actually a pretty good sign. Usually when I see these, this whole part is just completely rotted out. And it even comes with storage in the back and this swing out arm. I think this is like almost like a barbecue grill, which this in itself is actually worth a pretty penny. I know that for a fact. But again, this thing's just kind of a monster. Like, where are you gonna put this? I see some stuff happening here on the back I don't really want to know about. There's a couple bolts just hanging out there for who knows what, man. But this one's been sitting for a while. This was in the back corner of the yard with the bigger recreational vehicles. So this is like where the trucks and SUVs are put at. Missing a door handle. I guess it makes it easier if you wanted to open the door. Well, you would think, but again, it's a Land Rover. So there you go. Let's take a peek on the inside. I'm sure it's just gonna smell absolutely wonderful. And I'm a little scared, man, if I'm being honest here. Okay, maybe somebody locked it. So maybe somebody does want this thing. I can look on the inside. You can kind of see what's going on. I'll try and focus the camera here, but you're not missing out on much. I see the steering column is ripped to pieces. Again, interesting. Would I ever buy this? Absolutely not. But I do think for the hardcore enthusiasts out there, somebody's future overland build, maybe a drop in LS in this. I don't know. Kind of cool, kind of weird, kind of not. I don't know. And I couldn't help but notice this one sticks out. It's got all the bedazzlings on it. It looks like a very aggressive Mustang. So I can't tell if this has something snarling underneath the hood because of the massive hood scoop that's going up to draw out, you know, some of the hot air. But we'll take a look in further detail and see what this is all about. I feel like half the time I see these auction Mustangs, it's either like, you know, a Shelby GT500, which is like a proper fire-breathing monster. Or I see ones that have all the trinkets and bedazzlements, and then it ends up being an automatic V6 Mustang. But I'm not disregarding this one. It's a good-looking car. You know, when it comes to American muscle, people love these. I mean, there's a lot to like here too. I feel like Ford has been stepping up their game with the Ford lineage. Of course, I'm kind of an old school guy. I like the older models myself, but I do see why people like these. You know, maybe something that to consider is that these look like the knockoff brand wheels, so these aren't like BBS or anything, but you know, it's an acquired taste with the golden lip adding to this. It's kind of got that Subaru color scheme going for it. Front splitter is quite literally split down there, but hey, you know, it happens. Low car and all that stuff. Is this real carbon fiber? I mean, maybe not. This looks like it's actually a sticker. So this is the faux carbon fiber. I also see it's got all the louvers. Louver here, louver there, louver everywhere. Very good looking arrow that's happening here. You know, maybe good for a time attack. But I feel like I'm kind of digging into this car. I shouldn't be so rude. You know, for somebody out there, maybe they like this. It's got all kinds of different colors happening on the inside. It is an automatic. Not the worst thing in the world, but it would be kind of nice if this was a manual. And I do think that maybe this will start. I don't know. Is the key in it? No, the battery's cooked. It has these state-of-the-art paddle shifts up here. I mean, this is definitely an enthusiast. This is somebody that really liked it. Now, I'm just very curious though, what's underneath the hood? I think that's what we're all wondering about. So we're about to find out right now. I'll go over there here in a sec. We'll take a look at the other side. Is it missing a wheel? Oh, shoot. Okay, now that makes a lot more sense. This actually got sideswiped. Trunk won't open on the window. Okay, now we can piece some things together. They hit a guardrail of some sort. They just completely violated this car. Lost the mirror. This is all messed up. If it's worth it for whatever is underneath the hood, maybe this is actually, you know, worth putting back together. I don't know. Let's see what's hiding underneath thy dear Mustang. If I can find the stupid thing to open it. Where is it? Oh, I see it. Oh, it's hard to do this with one hand. Hold on. Oh, you stupid thing. Hold on. I'm putting you guys down. Okay. Did something get bent? Can I open it? It's like somebody loosened this so that... I can't open it. Can I at least see? Can't see anything. I see the hook, but it's not moving. When I move the latch, it's just not. Okay, there we go. Oh, okay. Well, this is not gonna hold. So what do I do now? Dun, da, da, da. EcoBoost. So it's an automatic EcoBoost Mustang. I think given the damage, it's where it needs to be. I thought it was gonna be like a Coyote, maybe a Hellcat swap. Man, even if they put a K-Series, that'd be kind of cool. But, you know, maybe not to knock it all the way. It's very fixable. Not really my cup of tea. But I know there's a lot of Mustang guys out there, and gals. Thought it was worth looking at least. Now here's a particular car that I actually like quite a bit, the Lexus IS. I will say that I think I like the previous generation a little bit more, the Altezas of the time, but there's a lot of people that like these. I see these always have kind of what this has going on. It's got the full aero, the wheels, tires, it's been lowered. It also has upgraded brakes in the front. It looks like drilled and slotted rotors. So, you know, this is definitely an enthusiast car, but I feel like there's never an in-between with these. They're either, you know, well, you know, sorted out, nice car, stock and clean, or whatever you want to call this one. You know, we see panels being pulled back here, which is unfortunate. The hood is not being opened correctly. Don't know what that's all about. And it's got the trinkets on it. Usually when it comes to modifications on a car, it can kind of devalue them based on the typical scenario. I do think that they did a pretty good job, but you can just tell that they did a lot of the cosmetics, and for whatever reason they wanted to take something home with them, so they took the badge. Nice looking car. You know, it looks like it also has an upgraded exhaust, dual tip. Maybe they just did the tips, who knows? We'll pop open the back here. Oh, they also have their Instagram on the window, that's cool. You know, this is a luxury car of the time. It's more of a sportier sedan. For me, my heart lies in the GS or the LS. I've had two of the LS 400s, the first generation ones, and I absolutely love them. But my cousin has one of these, and it's a very comfortable car. I kind of wish there was a little bit more space in the rear seats, but for what it is, it's a nice car. Seat has seen better days. It smells of herbal aromatics, if you know what I mean. And my goodness, look at this shifter. This is quite an abomination, if I do say so myself. You know, that kind of just tells you about the owner. I didn't realize these have paddle shifts. That's pretty cool. Very high quality Lexus back in the day. But this one, I think, just kind of had it. The smell is just, ooh, it's kind of, ooh. Anyways, you know, I don't want to knock it completely, but I want to know if this is the IS 250 or the 350. Let's see here. And I believe this is the 350? No, this is the 250. So this is the V6. They did all the wrapping to keep the heat down on the cold air intake, which is nice. And it just tells you that they liked it. So it's probably got a pretty cool induction noise here. The vanity cover is missing for whatever reason. Maybe it's because of the cold air intake protruding so that it can't mount correctly. I see right here, this is one of the mounting points, and this looks too beefy, so it might get in the way. You know, honestly, there could be more room. A lot of it, I think, is just the plastics. You have to remember with these newer cars, once you have the vanity on here, it's just like one sea of plastic. So once you take all these off, it's a little bit better to work on, but it's still pretty tight. You see how tight it is in between the radiator and the engine itself. So not the easiest car to work on, but it's a Toyota, man. And there's good stuff always going on here. And this one also has body damage. So you need the headlight, you need the fender, you need the bumper, and then the skirt's falling off. It's tastefully clapped for sure. So you'd have to get it for a real bargain to put it back together, but I'm not saying it's completely disregarded, but it needs work. Maybe this is a good budget daily for somebody. I don't think you're gonna turn this one into a race car. We have an honorable mention here, the BMW 7 Series. The only reason I'm coming by to see this one is because it looks hilariously familiar to the one that Tyler Hoovy picked up, which ended up being a complete disaster, and I think that's why a lot of people avoid these like the plague. And when it comes to the other 7 Series before this, what is it, the E38? That's the one I would go for. Absolutely fabulous car, especially if you get it the 740. This model is the 750 Li, so I think this one actually has the extended rear seats, which is the business executive premium. I mean, oh my God, look at the size of this back here. I mean, this is like being in a small apartment. Oop. Didn't want to get run over and killed by a loader. So anyways, look at the back seat in this thing. It's unbelievable, the size. I mean, look, you could almost fully kick your feet up. So you have to remember that this is meant for somebody that was a total business executive, so you can watch his DVDs in the back here with the foldable tray style like this. And I'm sure that there's some other gadgets and gizmos behind this perforated rear leather seats. Does this have the massaging? I don't think it does, but I do see that it has stuff for the curtains. So I believe there's curtains that go up and down. Maybe some of these you can get with bulletproof glass. So this one doesn't have it, which is fine. I think that's a little bit overkill. But just to say that this is a very, very luxurious car for the time. You have to be a little crazy to buy one of these things, and I think they've just absolutely hit the bottom of the depreciation curve. I mean, you're not gonna get much value out of this because it's gonna be fleecing you for every dollar that you have. In terms of repairs, mechanical issues, check engines on all the time, lights. It's a technologically advanced thing, and it has all the stuff that you'd want. At the same time, I just don't think it's gonna be there for you in terms of something that you can drive confidently and enjoy. Again, it's a lot of assumptions here, but just from what I've seen, I would avoid these. I think if you're gonna go for a 7 Series, go for the 740i's of the E38s. Those are fantastic cars. A lot simpler than this. Won't have all the gadgets and gizmos like this one does. I mean, look at all the buttons happening here. Again, it may be at the cost of your own sanity. With the iDrive system, which is kind of notoriously known for being finicky, if respectful here. Again, nice car. It looks good. I'm not saying it's a bad looking car. I mean, you look in the back here, not too shabby. There's a reason why it's here, and I'm sure this one's gonna be sitting for a while.